Hello, welcome. This is Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan. My favorite vegan, I forget his name, Veggie Police, I just call him Veggieboy, is no longer vegan. He is a little woo-woo-y, woo-woo-woo. He has weird opinions about diets and stuff, and it's just, he's got some sort of digestive, I don't think it's Crohn's, something. Right. And so he went vegan and he's dealing with all these terrible things because you're supposed to not eat any fiber when you have a colon disorder. Right. You're supposed to lay off the fiber because, well, guess what? If you can't digest something, there's no real need to eat it. I did a video. I don't think I posted it, but he was complaining about this or that, and it seemed like he was about to be done. And I did this video, and in my video, I suggested that he go on a elimination diet. You can do this. Anybody can do this if you have issues with your eating. Is you start with beef, and then you add in other foods, maybe every week, right? And as you add in these single individual ingredients, you'll quickly figure out what it is that's bothering you, right? So you eat everything. You have a steak twice a day, 32 ounces. It's real expensive, I guess, but if it's just you and you have issues and it costs you money in medicine or doctor's visits and stuff, it's a good thing to do this. This is a very good idea if you have any issues. You start with beef, about 32 ounces a day if you can, or less. Obviously, some people can't eat that much. And then, maybe you add in white rice after a week, and then you eat that for a week. Steak and rice, good, great. Then you would individually add in vegetables or beans or whatever, right? That's in an elimination diet, especially because you got to pinpoint what exactly it is. I have tried carnivore. It's very hard for me because I love potatoes and rice. I do like a lot of vegetables, like Brussels sprouts. I like steamed carrots. I love all that stuff. So it's hard for me to do just the carnivore thing, but I would say I eat keto 6 days a week. And then on Sunday, we'll get breakfast and I'll eat some biscuits or something, right? Whatever. That's not important. This is Ryan's reaction to his why I'm no longer vegan again thing. Ryan is the most obnoxious, arrogant, irritating vegan out there. And some of them are that way, but a lot of them it's their brand. So it comes across as different whenever you're purposefully, Ryan thinks he's this paragon of I don't know, pleasantness. He's a very unpleasant person, you'll see.
Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan, the YouTube channel that is not hosted by a sociopath, a narcissist, or a grifter.
Not a sociopath, not a narcissist, and not a grifter. Tell me anything else in the world, and I will think less that you are those things. If you start out by telling people you're not a thing, the first thing that they're going to think is that that's what you are.
I want to thank my moderator and friend Peter for referring me to this video of Vegetable Police, is why veganism failed him, why he's no longer vegan. So I want to say up front, I made a video about him maybe 6 or 7 years ago when he first made a why I'm no longer vegan video, and I haven't really followed him since, and I
Here's the reason he quit. It's not healthy.
didn't really know much about him before then, but I know he's, since that video from 6-7 years ago, jumped around to many different ways of eating, keto, carnivore.
Well, he went carnivore at one point, and he has been vegan, quote, because Veggieboy has had moments where he said, oh, I had sushi and I felt amazing, like some salmon, I believe it was, right? He has been a vegan, I think he said, for 7 or so years. So he's going back on it after having done it before and switched to carnivore. And then he went back vegan because he said that it was the ethics of the thing, right?
Or anything in between.
He also has this opinion that if you eat more meat, you die sooner. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna, if you hear this, you're not gonna agree with me, but that is false. That is 100% false. Listen to a vegan, and they will cite you studies from the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 90s and the early 2000s. A lot has changed in nutrition science, right? A whole lot has changed. And they are all 15 to 20 years behind in their knowledge of the current understanding of human nutrition.
And I know he left veganism because he had some extreme gastrointestinal issues, and that seems to be the reason why he jumps around to these different ways of eating for a while, tries them out, and finds the
It wasn't a bunch of them. It was really just different brands of being a vegan.
issues don't go away. But anyway, I'm not going to comment on these dietary things. I'm not a nutritionist, a dietitian, a medical doctor, but
He'll say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist, but his entire fucking channel is about being vegan and how much healthier it is for you and how good it is for everything and the planet and the environment, but he's not a dietitian or a nutritionist or a doctor.
I'm trained in philosophy, logic, and critical thinking. I have a degree in philosophy.
Which means nothing. Tell me you wasted your fucking career or your fucking money on an education when you say it's a philosophy, a critical thinking. What is your degree? What was your degree called?
Went to grad school in philosophy, so I'm going to look at some of the arguments.
Did you graduate grad school in philosophy? I don't know what it I don't know how philosophy matters when we're talking about dieting. Like the thing about Veggieboy and his going carnivore, and he just fucking he went Super Saiyan. I say that to people about stuff. It's like if you just quit having sugar and processed food and you eat nothing but whole foods, you'll like go Super Saiyan. Your whole existence will improve.
The reasons that he said about why veganism's not good, and see if they make any sense. So please don't throw any hate at me. This is not a hateful video.
Physiologically, human beings need to eat meat. Your small intestine is 4 times longer than your colon. Look at all apes, it's the opposite. All plant eaters, it's the opposite. Your digestive system is more like your dog and your house cat than it is like any whatever. I don't know what the broad term for monkey, ape, simian, whatever. So like he doesn't know. He doesn't know and he doesn't believe. I've been in this dude's chat trying to tell him some of these scientific facts, but they just ignore it, right? You have to brainwash yourself to be a vegan because you can't live with cognitive dissonance, so you have to just deny the existence of anything that disagrees with you.
Towards vegetable police. I'm just merely responding to the claims he made about veganism and see if they are true.
That's the difference between vegan and animal protein. The meat is just so easy to digest. It doesn't feel like anything is in there. And you get the benefits of strength.
So
because it is 99.9% of it is digestible. There is almost no waste product in meat. It's all digested and absorbed and done in your small intestine. You don't shit out steak when you eat it. You digest the entire thing. Your digestive system, your stomach pH is 1.5 to 2, which is right there alongside crows and ravens and vultures, scavenging birds who eat old dead meat.
I'm not a follower of vegetable police. I haven't followed his life and all this stuff. So if anyone wants to comment down below and let me know what he's saying here, is he just merely describing how he feels like the plant proteins sit weird?
He is describing the reality of eating meat, and I also described the reality of eating meat and how it's digested. That is absolutely the truth.
In his stomach and they don't digest well? Or is he trying to say this is how it is for all people? Because he said this is the difference between animal and vegetable proteins. He should have said for me if he really meant he was just talking about himself. I just want to say that's not normal to have your plant protein or tofu just kind of stuck in your gastric.
It is full of fiber. Half of the plant protein you eat you cannot digest, so you have to move it out through your colon. He is misconstruing what Veggieboy said.
Intestinal system or something like that. So yeah, if he's talking about himself, cool, I have every reason to believe him. But I just want to make it clear, that's not how it should be for people that don't have such extreme GI issues.
A plant fiber is indigestible. That's why you don't count the carbs when you're on keto, because it just passes through your system. And all the nutrients in that fiber, the fiber comes from the cell walls of the cell, and it locks away nutrients. Your digestive system, your stomach acid is not strong enough to break down the fiber in plants. So you don't get like 50% of all the nutrients you eat do not make it into your body, into your system.
As he does. And he says something about strength. Like, what is he talking about? You're saying that you have trouble getting strength on plant proteins, or are you saying all people?
Yeah, homie, look at you. That's also a fact. It's just a fact. You want to be a vegan, bless you. You are a shining star and a wonderful example of compassion. Yeah, I agree with that, and I believe that. I don't want to discourage anybody from doing this, but you have to be aware of the actual science and how things work.
do. Again, comment down below if I'm not understanding what he's saying.
I've been watching a
I'm
lot
commenting
of
right now to your face.
longevity talks from people who are talking about this for the last 6 years.
I look at his face. He's like, you know, I'm not going to say he's odd looking guy, but he's like, I'm average looking dude. He's like an average looking dude, but he just comes across as so nice, right?
They don't know what the hell they're doing, but there's a lot of research that suggests higher protein is nice long term.
Higher protein
like that
is nice long term. That's what these longevity experts are saying. Okay, so this is one reason why you don't want to get nutritional advice from non-experts.
So it is true. Hong Kong has the highest amount of centenarians in the world. All this green zone stuff was just made up by a guy. A lot of the information that he correlated to support his hypothesis, there was a huge amount, and you won't believe this, but it's true, and whenever you hear it, you will start to understand. There's a huge amount of fraud amongst people claiming to be 100 years old because you get extra benefits from the government, right? The oldest man in Tokyo was recently, his body was found in his flat. He had been dead for 20 years, right? So there was a lot of, and they've gone back and they've readjusted these, they've, sorted out the fraud issues, and it's changed a lot. There's pretty average throughout the planet now, except for Hong Kong, and they also have the highest meat consumption it's the highest meat consumption in the world.
Like me or him, protein is nice. Like, what are you referring to exactly? And I'm going to go out on a limb here. Again, I'm not studied in.
Let me go out on a limb here and do another example. You are a mammal. That cow is also a mammal. The way your bodies work is extremely similar, and there is one huge difference. It's the fact that their digestive system, they have a 4-chamber stomach, they have flat molars for grinding. They are little factories that take the grass and turn it into the nutrients that fuel mammals. They are mammals. What they store in their muscles is what your muscles needs. Right? It's very logic, critical thinking. If you can't think of the world in a logical way and just put all of your preconceptions to the side, you end up like this old Chinese woman here.
This field, I have no degrees or anything like that, but I think I understand the subtlety going on here, because something about what he said here is actually true, backed by evidence, and the inference he's trying to make people arrive at, like eating high protein is great for longevity, that's just simply not showing up in the research. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So for instance, the National Resource Center on Nutrition and Aging
Updated 2020. Protein is a nutrient that plays an important role in the health of older adults. Protein is found in every single cell in the body, is essential for life. Oh, wow, that sounds pretty good. Protein supports good health, immunity, muscle maintenance, and physical function in older adults. And then there's a little 2, but I can't see any more of the paper. All I see are all these two things. That's a lot of protein. If you weigh 200 pounds, 0.8 grams per 0.8 grams per kilo. Oh, so I'm 300. What's that? 100 and, well, you double it, boom, and 20%. So that's like 130, 140 kilos. So I would need to eat about 120 grams of protein. I'm trying to get it close. I know it's bad math. Well, so under 150, that's still a lot. Like most people don't eat near that much protein. That's a lot. That's a whole lot of protein. And I promise you, if you eat plant protein, you have to double it, because half of that is not bioavailable to you.
Has this paper from...
Because your digestive system is not optimized for digesting plant matter. You also don't have the teeth to grind it up either.
2020 on nutrition needs for older adults, protein. So how much protein do us older adults need? And I count myself as older because I'm over 50. They say the recommended dietary allowance for older...
He got so mad one day because I called him 68. He got so butthurt. I had a video, but then... I can go back and find it and make a commentary on it, maybe.
Is the same as younger adults, though emerging research suggests older adults may indeed require more protein. So yes, there's some truth to what Vegetable Police said.
If you're an average sized person, your body will cycle through 80 to 100 grams of protein of your lean muscle mass. So you need about 80 to 100 to maintain all of your muscles. Like, that's 200 grams of plant protein. Go and eat 200 grams of plant protein without eating a bunch of soy, and it's difficult.
there. Yeah, there is some connection between increasing your protein a little bit
There
when
is
you're older.
a connection.
But do we really need to be on a high protein
connection.
diet for longevity gains? Well, this study titled New Horizons, Dietary Protein, Aging, and the Okinawan Ratio.
Okay, first of all that Okinawan stuff it's just not factual. It's just not factual. They took a survey in 1947 after the war. They were told by the government to plant the stupid sweet potatoes. This is all facts. These are all like, they're documented. They were told, plant a bunch of these sweet potatoes because we're taking all of your meat to feed to the Navy, to feed the troops. And they had to have the potatoes so they didn't starve to death.
Protein, aging, and the Okinawan ratio, referring to the longevity of people eating the traditional Okinawan.
Don't believe me or not. It's fine. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to listen to me. It's all crap. Actually look into some of these. None of them are scientific studies. Not one single nutrition study is scientific. It's something called epidemiology. They literally just take a survey. You know how you can tailor fit the results of a survey? Like, did you know about political polling and stuff? It's the most wonky thing ever. And there's people out there who went to school and got PhDs in being epidemiologists and don't even understand that they're worthless human beings now.
In Japan. They said such studies in insects and mice indicated that
Okay, if it's not in humans, then it doesn't matter.
Animals with ad libitum access to low protein, high carbohydrate diets have longest lifespans. And the
insects and mice. Now, here's the thing that you need to understand about a survey. If it's a keto survey, if it's a study they did on a dietary supplement or a pre-workout or something, and they use a mouse-based study, it does not apply to humans. It just does not apply. Unless you experiment on a human, you haven't even scienced on the right animal. No matter what anybody says, mice are not humans.
Researchers concluded that the optimum content and ratio of dietary protein to carbohydrates for aging.
Hey, Ryan, you seem really stupid.
In experimental animals are almost identical to those in the traditional diets of the long-lived people on the island of Okinawa. And
the traditional diets were extremely high in meat, and everything that they ate had animal substances in it. Lots of chicken and eggs. Well, maybe not as much chicken, but they would eat eggs too. They have a special breed of pig there, right? That's apparently just way better than what we eat around here. This is all based, look, 1940 in Okinawa in 1949, after the island had been completely decimated after war. This is in the rebuilding period. So none of this matters. It was a very special circumstance. And the fact that a vegan can sit there and still reference the Okinawans when it comes to nutrition and how you're supposed to eat mostly carbs is mind-blowing.
This is Okinawan carbohydrate to protein ratio. Here it is. It's a very low protein diet. It's a very
This doesn't even have, there's not even numbers on this. There's not even any, so this is what it says. He literally could have gone on his fucking computer and made this and wrote this down here. There is no other indicator of where this came from.
Diet. Again, I'm not here to promote either one. I'm just telling you what the research is saying.
No,
so anyway, let's move on and listen to what
research.
Vegetable Police has to say about some great gains, some great benefits of not eating a completely vegan or plant-based diet.
You get some muscle mass.
Everything.
You fall over, you don't break your hip. You're not shattering your hands on handshakes.
I mean, is he just trying to be funny there? I know he's a comical kind of guy, like breaking your hands on handshakes. I hope that's just a
Yeah. That's the reason that the term soy boy exists.
joke. And gaining muscle mass, you are aware that vegans are athletes as well. Vegans put on muscle.
Vegans on steroids. That too. Any vegan that looks muscular and they're an athlete or a competitor, they're probably on gear. You can't be on gear and not look like you're on gear. It's just that most people don't understand what a person on gear looks like. And vegans, I see it all. You see it all the damn time. All the time. That's why the community's dying. That's why
I put on
veganism
quite a
is
bit of muscle as a vegan. Yeah, I don't look like a bodybuilder, but I'm a basketball player. And breaking hips, yeah, I mean, I learned to slam dunk in my 50s, landing on my ankles all the time, not breaking bones or anything like that. And there's professional vegan athletes in all sorts of sports, including basketball. So I'm not sure we're talking.
No, I mean, maybe they went vegan for a time. Every actual professional athlete that ever goes vegan stops because it starts to affect their performance. It is, look it up, dude. Look around, look it up. I mean, Miley Cyrus was vegan and she had to stop being vegan because it was so tough on her body.
How vegans have this disadvantage of breaking their bones and not be able to put on muscle mass. But then again, like I said earlier, maybe Vegetable Police is just talking about his personal experience and not referring to all vegans in general. So
he is, and he's correct in doing it.
Has he been having his hand crushed when he shakes people's hands? Is he not being able to put on muscle as a vegan? Let me know down below.
It's a strange transition, though, back to meat. It always is. Like, you're vegan, you're happy, you're doing this ethical thing. It's like, yes, the world is benefiting. Here you go, little buddy, I would never hurt you. Into, like, full death mode, and you're killing everything. It's not great, but God says it's okay.
All right, I don't want to get into any kind of debate or long discussion here about theology and what the Bible says about eating meat or just eating plants. Is that
God, after creating the universe, a summary. See, here's this more manipulative bullshit. A summary of Genesis 1:29. Not actually Genesis 1:29. He didn't tell anybody about their diet like that. Yeah, you get to eat anything. Eat what you need to eat to survive. But also, this is in the, like, special place of Eden. This is before humanity was corrupted, right? This is before we were forced to live in the wild, right? And we had to scratch and toil with the earth, and we had to husband the animals and use them to survive. Like, you don't eat, yeah, I'm not going to get into a discussion of religion, but here's this, not actual text from a religious book, just a summary.
okay? I've made many videos about this before. We've discussed this many
Remember, not a narcissist,
time on our
not a grifter,
Friday live stream.
Nobody cares what you are.
But is what he's saying here,
if you're Buddhist, why are you using a different religion to manipulate people?
gonna eat meat because God says.
Is there any principles about that in Buddhism? Is there any principles about that in Buddhism? I'm not sure.
It's cool too.
He's happy with it. He's like, eat meat, sacrifice these sheep. Everyone back in the day, they were sheepherds.
Okay, that's a new one I've never heard before on the Friday night live streams.
That's a
But
new one I've never
shepherds
heard
from
before.
2,000 years ago, though.
Freaking sheepherds. Always had meat, milk.
Not 2,000 years ago. Not even 200 years ago. Like, people have always had animals. Goats, sheep. Those are easy animals to keep around. Chickens, like, okay.
Freaking eggs.
All right, so the logic is because there were people from a certain part of the Middle East 2,000 years ago that never heard of the concept of veganism and ate the animals and animal products that were around them, that means it's totally...
The concept of veganism is just, it's just corporate. That's all it is. Do you not understand? I went down that road for a while, and, like, it is so much more expensive to eat vegan, and, like, because you can't just eat potatoes and carrots and beans. You have to eat dozens of different plants to get all the nutrients you require. Like, because they didn't hear of veganism? Yeah, because they weren't so, like, low intelligence that they think that animals are more aware than they are. Like, my dog right here, dogs among mammals are right up there at the top. Right up there at the top when it comes to, like, intelligence and stuff. But the dog, when he's hungry, he doesn't think, I'm hungry, I should go eat. He feels an impulse and gets up and goes to where the food is. There is no consideration. There's no thought. There's no processing. They don't understand language or have a language. Therefore, they can't think in the way that we think. Like, and it's just infuriating that vegans, it's fine. You want not to hurt the animals, that's fine. But that animal, hog will eat you. You fall in a hog pen, they will eat you. You cut their balls off, they turn around and eat their balls. They are monsters. And cows, have you ever seen a cow? Go stare at a cow for 30 minutes. Tell me that fucking thing has any concept of the world around him, or of the stars in the sky, or of its own existence. Tell me that an animal truly has existential knowledge, and I'll consider being a vegan again. Right? Like, this is ridiculous.
Fine and justifiable to harm and exploit and slaughter animals now.
You can't justify me not doing it. If it makes me less healthy not to have animal products, you can't justify me not eating animals.
When we don't have to in 2023,
So I don't know
In
who I feel
2023,
worse
it's current year.
disappointing, the animals that I'm now killing or my vegan homies on YouTube.
Again, my intention here is not to make some video casting hate or shaming anyone, vegetable police or anything like that. But I mean, I don't know, was he really vegan, like ethical vegan, or just eating plant-based?
There it is. Here it is. Here's the hot one. Here's the one they love to say, where you were never vegan in the first place.
Just trying to see how that affects his gastrointestinal issues. But the answer to your question should be, it should be a no-brainer.
Here's one more comment. Don't ever trust a motherfucker that never stops smirking at you. He has not stopped smirking the entire video. Do not trust a person like that.
It's a slam dunk. You should feel worse for the animals that you're now harming and exploiting and slaughtered rather than some homies on YouTube. I mean,
I wasn't avoiding things.
homies on YouTube. I mean,
I feel like I'm disappointing them more than the animals. I feel worse about that for some reason.
wow.
So I felt like I was fighting for the good cause, but the more I look into it and the more I feel
He
in
just
my
says,
body,
wow.
it just seems wrong on every way. Like all the fruits are
Yeah,
not that
buddy.
sweet.
Your brain is working. The carbohydrates are not good for the body. That's a whole nother thing too. Like, they're not good for your body. So you really should try to minimize the amount of them that you eat. You should only eat vegetables for pleasure, and you should make sure to have like 10 to 12 to 16 ounces of ruminant animal flesh every day. Because whether you want to admit it or whether you want to believe it or not, humans are carnivores. You are an obligate carnivore. You have to have that stuff. You are also a very large mammal, and you carry a fair amount. You carry about, if you're just not overweight, you carry about a month's worth of calories on your body. And you also have muscle, and your muscle is where most of your nutrients are stored and used. And you will start to lose muscle mass over a long time. Look at someone like Eugenia Cooney, right? That is in stage, you can't say those words. That's in stage Anna, right? We used to call it Anna and Mia. Internet stuff back in the day. But like, yeah, that's an example of your muscle mass will go down to nothing. You also will take calcium from your bones because all your brain does, it regulates the blood, right? There's one little spot where the blood-brain barrier is, and it tests the blood periodically. And whenever the blood doesn't come back right, it sends out the chemicals that need no more calcium. It will take calcium from your bones. If you don't have enough calcium in your blood coming in through your diet, it will break down your muscle cells to use the protein that it needs to keep you going. That's how it all works.
In nature, everything you see in the store, it is sweeter than the wild thing that grows naturally.
Well, that's a really weird.
You would die eating wild plants and fruits and stuff. Yeah, it is not a weird thing to point out that all plants are that all fruits and vegetables that we eat on a regular basis are man-made and manipulated for like 100 years.
And disingenuous negative to point out about plant foods, because virtually all foods that humans eat have been selectively bred to produce desired traits that weren't found in the original. So yes, fruits.
Yeah, but you can't hybridize cows. Dogs and stuff, we didn't, like, you breed dogs, you can change the breed of dogs naturally over, so many generations in like a relatively quick amount of time. Because all that information is in them. And whenever you breed an animal with another animal, you're accentuating only what is already in there. The breeding is not evolution. All the information is in the animal. Whenever you genetically modify like corn, or you crossbreed corn with another plant or whatever, like that's not the same thing as breeding animals.
Today are sweeter than fruits you would have found back in their natural states, but that's also.
And here's the thing, you can go out into Alaska and kill a bear, and that bear will have all the nutrients you need for your body. That's a bad argument, because you can go eat any animal, and if it's a mammal, it has the same nutritional requirements that you do.
True of chickens, turkeys, and cows. Like, turkeys now are like twice as big than their original predecessors. They can't fly, and they can't even breed without human help. And is eating.
I see many wild turkeys weekly. Are you talking about just our domestic turkeys, Or are you talking about all turkeys? Because there are many different kinds of turkey.
Meat from a cow? I mean, does he have access to aurochs, which have been extinct for like thousands of years?
You should see my little tabletop in the kitchen.
He went and speared one of those, killed it with a spear, and did the same thing we've been doing for, some people say 19 million years or something ancestrally, all the way back to the beginning.
It used to be like all fruits and normal foods, and now it's like bottle after bottle of supplement that I'm trying to like, oh, maybe this will help me. And it's all protein powders and green powders and maca enzymes. And I turned into a supplement factory.
So once again, let me know, is he speaking about himself personally becoming a supplement factory, or is he implying that vegans in general need to become some kind of supplement factory? Like, yeah.
They do. Watch Hinge Herbivore, who I haven't seen do a video in a little while. I may have to look in on him. Watch Hinge Herbivore make a fucking cooking video, or he's putting scoop of this and scoop of that and scoops of these. Yeah, why does so many vegan supplements exist if you don't need them to be vegan, Ryan? Okay, I'm going to cut it there. It's been half an hour. I got to go get the kids from school. So if you saw this, I appreciate you. Like it, dislike it, roast me in the comments, call me an idiot, call me a genius. Just interact if you want to, and unsubscribe if you want to. Do whatever. I'm just doing this for fun. It's a good way for me to open my head and just let all the toxicity spill out. I yell at this poor old. Look, still smirking. Didn't stop smirking the whole time. The sad thing about Ryan is he's like 6'2". I think he played basketball in college. If he wasn't vegan, he would be a fucking specimen, and he would actually look younger than he is. This dude's only 56. That's it. 56. That's it. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.